Hello again, and welcome to another episode of Fragments of Fragments with me, Lewis Kirk. Firstly, I just want to thank everyone who got in contact about the first video with feedback, ideas, encouragement and criticisms. It really means a lot, this interaction, just to know that people are watching it and getting something out of it. And a special thanks to everyone that felt moved to share it on their social network. These shares are, I suppose that they're important because it just allows people that might not have a chance to see it, that they're able to see it by you passing it forward. And obviously they're not going to know who I am, so that will have an impact as well. I think that they don't have this personal history with Lewis. They just see this guy talking. Now, the one main criticism I got from a few of you was that the video was a bit long, the last video. First one, I was a bit anxious, so I learned a lot from that one, and I've learned from everyone's feedback, and I'll try and keep this one maybe to a more manageable 10 minutes, although I've been rambling on and not said anything yet. So let me get into the content of this episode. How did Fragments of Fragments begin? Between around 2010 and the start of this blog in 2012, I became very interested in reading. This had progressed from an interest in golf and reading golf autobiographies of the world's greatest golfers until one day I found a reference to Deepak Chopra's 7 Spiritual Laws of Success in Nick Faldo's autobiography Life Swings. This was the first of many connections I would make in my reading life that were akin to synchronicity or serendipity. Reading these autobiographies was a great way to gain life experience sitting in my armchair. And I learnt many lessons just by reading these biographical works and learning about other people's lives. From Deepak Chopra, I then read The Secret, and after that Joseph Murphy's The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. And from these books, and I'm sure there was a few others, I became aware of a different way of thinking than any I'd heard before. No one in my life to that point had told me about the power of positive thinking and affirmations, and no one had told me that I could gain control of my emotions and my responses to people and the world around me. Why not? Why had no one told me about this? Why had no one ever given me this advice that I thought was so powerful and so valuable? And I suppose bottom line is not many people know about it and are not interested for whatever reason. And it's more available today with the growing popularity of mindfulness. But when I first came into contact with ideas like this, it was a great mystery. And so this was the entrance to the proverbial rabbit hole, which I was to fall into, like Alice in Wonderland. The thing that pushed me in fully was when a good friend of mine recommended 2 authors, one called George Gurdjieff and the other one Peter Ouspensky. Now there are a lot of articles on Gurdjieff and Ouspensky, I think, but Gurdjieff particularly on the right hand side of the homepage. You'll find in the category section, you'll find Gurdjieff. You just click on him and you can read all the articles about him. Now I had thought that Chopra, Murphy and The Secret were thought-provoking and inspirational. But Gurdjieff and Ouspensky had a different flavour altogether. One that moved beyond positive thinking and inspiration and instead reflected a mirror directly into my being and caused me to see who I really was. behind all the roles that I was playing in life and all the desires and aversions that I was accustomed to. These two men stripped all that away and left me open without anything to hide behind. These men and their works, I can say, it opened the door to a new life for me from that point forward. It never occurred to me standing at the entrance of this rabbit hole what was waiting at the other side once I'd been down there and come back out. I hadn't thought about the end result. No one warned me, and it wasn't anything that I'd thought about. The consequences of shutting myself away and reading books of this nature for hours a day and for days at a time. I was so curious and interested in these guys, Gurdjieff and Ouspensky, that I straight away, as soon as the guy said their name, I don't know, something happened, and I was just so interested that I bought their most popular works straight away and read them. And after that, I bought everything that they'd written themselves. And then once I'd read all of those, after another several months, I moved on to buying everything that was written about them by their students and followers. And so after all this reading, I had a very good understanding of the philosophy they're expounding, the men themselves, their history, how the teachings came about, and just lots of different perspectives. I think there's probably 8 or 10 very good accounts of people in their time with Gurdjieff and Ouspensky. I won't go into all the details about how all that, because I'm trying to stay on point. My magic paper, still got it. Don't think I been doing loads of practice. I want to try and stay on point and keep to topic. So for around 2 years this went on. 2 years I would digest all these books, never really reflecting how it might have been affecting me. Someone with more sense might have taken a moment standing at the rabbit hole and asked, what's down there, I wonder? What will the experience do to me? Is it safe? But not me. I knew I wanted what was in there. And this story is a good segue into why I called the blog Fragments of Fragments. Because even in trying to tell you about a few books that I'd read early on and the impact they had on my life, the words they're not sufficient to describe what I experienced. I can't fully describe to you what I went through and what happened, because I can't tell you all about Gurdjieff's work and philosophy in a short video, and I can't tell you the power that positive thinking and affirmations will have in your life in 10 minutes. I can't do it. I don't think it's possible. Not fully anyway, not as I would like. I can't even share a fragment of these different philosophies, but I can share fragments of fragments. So during this time of study and introspection, I became passionate about ideas, concepts and philosophies, specifically the way they can have a positive impact on life, because they impacted my life in a positive way. And I'm sure anyone who's ever experienced anything that uplifted them and was positive, they feel the need to share that with others, to try and help other people out. And so that's how this blog came about, because I just wanted to put it out there and not have but when you talk to some people about some of this stuff, they just glaze over and you can see, oh wow, I've lost them. So I stopped talking about it in my everyday life and kept it to myself. But this would be my outlet, Fragments of Fragments. And it was always my aim to share a fragment of some sort of knowledge or information or philosophy, and that if people were interested enough, they would do some research themselves and find out a bit more about it. And so some of the headings you'll find in the category section, like I mentioned a minute ago, down the right hand side of the home screen, in alphabetical order. This is what I have blogs about so far: astrology, Buddhism, Gurdjieff, harmonious development, which is my hypnotherapy website. I've added a page at the top of the screen if you're interested in that. There's even blogs on here about hypnotherapy, mythology, Uspensky, positivity, philosophy, Pythagoras, symbolism, Tao Te Ching, the mind, universe, Yogananda, and Zen. So to give you a good example of a whole being made up of fragments or parts, let's take one of these categories. Let's take mythology. So mythology would be the whole field of knowledge. The fragments of it would be the different cultures of mythology. So you've got Greek mythology, Norse mythology, Roman mythology, Celtic mythology, Aztec and Mayan mythology, and loads of other mythologies. These would be fragments of mythology as a whole. And the fragment of a fragment would be a specific god within one of these pantheons of mythology. So say Zeus from Greek mythology, or Odin in Norse mythology, or Mercury in Roman mythology. So I would find a fragment of some larger body, and I'd share it here, hoping that someone else might think it's interesting and might go on to find out more about it, and get interested in something that they didn't know of before. So that was how the blog began and how I came up with the name for it. And now to finish the vlog, and I've seen I've already gone past my prescribed 10 minutes, but I think I have to try really hard to to keep it concise. So to finish, I'm just going to speak a little bit about where I am now after all these years of reading and practice and study and experience. So it's clear that there are many fields of knowledge and information that we can choose and pursue. So we can pursue flower arranging or baking, banking, politics, different languages. There's no end to the list of information and knowledge. But my opinion is that the most important knowledge available to us, and what interests me the most at the moment, is the knowledge that can remove suffering and can produce happiness. And this aspiration, I feel, of ending suffering can be a current in anyone's life, and it won't impact you if you're a banker or a florist or a baker. It won't really impact those things, apart from maybe making you a more kind and compassionate and mindful person within those roles. And the clearest example of this is in Buddhism. So the Buddhists, they have a teaching of the Four Noble Truths. And these are the truth of suffering, the truth of the cause of suffering, the truth of the end of suffering, and the truth of the path that leads to the end of suffering. So I would consider this teaching of the Four Noble Truths a fragment of the school of Buddhist thought. And if this sounds interesting for you, you can Google it and learn a bit more about this teaching. And so I'm not claiming that by watching one of these vlogs, that I'll just remove all your suffering with my words, that I'll be able to inspire you to anything. Who knows? But maybe I might be able to share something that might interest you, and then you look into, and then that in turn, that can help you. So I suppose, let's say I'm giving you a blunt knife, and then it's your responsibility to sharpen that knife, to learn how to use that knife and how to keep it safe in your own life, because I can't be there all the time to make sure that you're not suffering unnecessarily. And I'll finish this vlog with a thought experiment relating to this, I suppose, what I've just shared about suffering. So you've got two choices in this thought experiment, like the red and blue pill in the Matrix, but your choices aren't whether to stay happily plugged into the Matrix in a simulation, or whether you wake up out of the simulation. They're the choices from the Matrix. My choices are just a little bit different. So one pill, it will give you entertainment and excitement for 5 hours, but then after the pill wears off, your suffering will increase. And the other pill will produce silence and boredom for 5 hours, but once the effects wear off, your suffering that you experience in life will reduce as you move forward. So out of these pills, which one would you choose, and why would you choose it? If you feel like sharing your answer or your thoughts about this thought experiment, and if you do it, if you really sit down and take a moment and think about it, yeah, who knows how it will affect you. And so time's ticking on. So thanks for watching again, and don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to the channel. And if you haven't already, like the Fragments Facebook page on Facebook, obviously. And yeah, thanks for watching. See you next time. Look after yourselves. Take care. Bye.